Hey, it's Naomi. So before we dive in, if you've ever finished an episode feeling like, okay, I needed that, but wish you had something to actually walk you through the healing, well, that's exactly why I built Elevate Me. It's a self-love journey, an AI guided, but it's written in my voice. Meditations, workbook, real tools for real healing. So head on over to studio.com/Naomi to check it out. All right? All right, so let's get into today's episode. This is it, the final week of July. We've been on a journey together, right? From looking at the messenger to understanding the journey to seeing the messenger effect and to claiming your full identity. But today we do the final work. We write the full messenger story and we own it. And we commit to living it. No apologies, no hiding, no shame. Just truth. So let's finish where we started. Welcome to the Season of Self-Love Podcast. I am your host, NmW&x, and I am so glad that you are here. As we continue to transform in life, so does this podcast. In Season 5, we're moving differently. More intentional. More action. Less learning. More doing. Less waiting. And more living. This is a space where we don't just talk about self-love. We practice it. We don't just discuss transformation. We live it. Every episode is an invitation to do the work with me, not just listen to me talk about it. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Naomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself intentionally is a foundation of true transformation. So get ready, get your journal, get your pen, because in Season 5, we're doing the work together. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. If you are new here to the Season of Self-Love Podcast, it's something we do every episode. It's just to help ground us before we get into the topic at hand, all right? All right, my beautiful people. So before we close this month work, let's ground ourselves with one final time for this month. Today, we're going to integrate. We're going to bring it all together with our own full story. So wherever you are right now, I want you to close your eyes and get comfortable if you can. I want you to take a deep breath in. Now slowly release. And I want you to repeat after me. And I want you to say to yourself, I integrate my full story. Inhale. Exhale. Past, present, becoming, all of it together. Inhale. Exhale. Say, I am ready to claim my messenger story. Inhale. Exhale. Say, I am living it, starting now. Okay, one more breath in. Release. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes and let's begin, all right? All right, my beautiful people. Again, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love Podcast, something we're doing every day just to help ground ourselves, all right? All right, so this month we learned a lot, right? We did. We learned, right? So I'm going to go ahead and take us back for a moment here. So in week 1, we learned about your messenger to stay visible and don't hide. And then in week 2, we learned about the journey from broken to unbroken, and then that is real and it requires real work, right? And in week 3, your visible transformation, it creates permission for others. And then in this week, in week 4, we are claiming, this is where you claim your full story, all of it. So today we're going to put it all together, all right? All right, so before we go into the first exercise, if you are watching me on our YouTube channel right now, y'all see me, you know how I talk with my hands, right? So I got this little book that's in my hand. It's a journal that I created, and I just received this sample copy last week. And I was in between if I was going to share it or not. But this is going to be for purchase. I just want y'all to know. I was going through it and seeing, and it got some really nice pages. So what this is the Season of Self-Love, Season 5 Action Journal. And it says, Reflect, Release, and Rise by Naomi Banks. And this is what I was thinking about, doing for, you, the listeners, as well as myself, so we can write these notes from Action Wednesday. Well, actually for Mindset Monday too, but for Action Wednesday. So, what, let me know. Send me an email. Let me know if there's something that I should go ahead and release or not. I'm still, and I'm looking at, a couple of more vendors as well, but I like this one. This is pretty cool. It's green with gold on it. And then they have my Elevate Me publishing and stuff on the back of it. So yeah, take a look. So I just wanted to, show you this as, I was doing this, in there. All right. So let's go into exercise 1. All right. Exercise 1 is your full messenger story. And I want you to do it in the written vision. All right. So now what you would grab your journal, because you are going to write the complete version of your messenger story. You're going to start with step 1, your past. All right. And you're going to start here. And you're going to write this down. All right. You ready? My messenger story begins with whatever your past is. All right. For me, it will be, I guess, an adult film star or a sex worker. All right. What do you want to happen? I want what to happen? I survive this, whatever it is that you survived. I carried these, the beliefs, the shames, the wounds. What did you carry? And when you write your past, I want you to be specific. I want you to be honest, and don't minimize it. All right, this is your context, so I want you to make sure that you write it down and don't be ashamed of any of it. All right, step 2 is your struggle. Now for this, I want you to write this, all right? The work looked like what? Did you have therapy, coaching, community, etc.? Was you listening to the Season of Self-Love with Naomi? And then I want you to, was it hard? Was it hard, messy, nonlinear? And then say what you specifically did. I did what things? I specifically did these things. And then there were moments when doubts and challenges. There were moments when, what was your challenges? What were your doubts? Write that. And then, but I kept going, or I chose differently, or I committed. But what did you do next? But you kept moving. So I want you to write your struggles. I want you to show the work that you did, the evidence. All right, now step 3 is your becoming. I want you to write your becoming. Now that what is your new role? What is your new identity? I am building. What are you building? For me, my new identity is I'm a healer. I'm a coach. I'm a leader. And what am I building? I'm building a community. I'm learning lessons. All right, so because I think I just confused y'all. I'll write that right quick right there. All right, so look, this is what you're going to write when you write your becoming. So we're going to go back. when you write your becoming, it's going to say, now I am your identity role. I am building what? What are you building? I am learning. What's your lessons that you learned? I am still growing, evolving, and becoming whatever that is that you're doing. And I am, what are you impact? What have your impact been doing? I'm impact that you're having. What's the impact that you're having on others? So I want you to write your becoming, and I want you to include the fact of what, even if you're still in process, even if you're still in the process of it. What this does is this give permission to others. All right, in step 4, your full statement. I am your past. I survived it. I did the work. I am now who you are now. I'm still becoming. And because of all of it, I am a messenger. My story is whatever your lesson, permission, or impact is. This is your full messenger story in statement. So I know I probably confused y'all a little bit, so I'm going to have some of this in the show notes. I think I'm going to write a blog. I think I'm going to write a blog about this. I think I am. The private version versus the public version. So now when we talk about the boundaries, about owning your story, it doesn't mean about telling everyone everything. So step 1 is understanding what's private. What's private? What parts of your story do you want to keep private? Because you should do that. Because you don't want to share with everybody. What you do, share only with trusted people. And so I want you to write this down. I will share this, whatever it is, with these people. I will share this publicly. I will keep this private. And this kind of just like inventorying what you're thinking about doing or how you're going to map out your story. Does that make sense? So then you get to decide what you share and with whom. And in step 2, your public version. Now let's write the version of your story that you're going to share publicly. This is a story that you tell on social media, in interviews, and in community spaces. It's still your full story, but it's the version that feels safe to share broadly. So you're going to write down your public messenger as this, because the thing is that it could be a risk. It could be a risk. And people would use it. Will try to use it against you. As I shared before, I don't know if it was in week 1 and week 2, that as I continue to share my journey and I continue to share my story and everything, I get emails, I get DMs, all types of sort of things. And you would think, why is she getting this? I'm speaking of my life in a positive manner, that I've elevated, I've grown, I've transformed my life. And so I'm sharing that wisdom with everyone else. I'm sharing my experience with everyone else. Why does that anger others? I don't know. But there is a risk, because there are people out there that for some reason don't want to see another person doing well, getting better, being healed, speaking positive, or loving on themselves. And unfortunately, that's horrible. And I don't know why. So it can be a risk, especially for someone like me who has been in the public eyes,
Let's take a quick break.
Hey, it's Naomi. Before we get into today's episode, if you are on your self-love journey, you know it's not just the mindset work, right? It's taking care of your whole self. That's body included. That's why I partner with Goldie. Use my code AskNaomi at checkout for a discount on the ashwagandha gummies. That is my daily go-to for staying grounded. So the link will be in the show notes. All right? Okay, so let's get into it. Yeah. And so step 3 is the risk. And then this is where I want you to ask yourself honestly, what am I afraid of will happen if I tell my full story publicly? What is that fear? What is that fear? And I want you to look at it. Is it real? Or is it the story that you've been telling yourself? What is that? Is that the fear? And so let me share this with you all. It's because it was even before I started Ask Naomi. And I remember saying, do you want to go back out there in this world helping people? And that's what Ask Naomi started off with, just replying back to the emails and just posting them up on YouTube, on social media, going back into that realm. Because once I left the industry, the adult industry, I went just straight into entrepreneurship. Yes, I had my radio station, but I also was just straight entrepreneurship with my makeup line, with my lingerie line, so I was trying to just stay entrepreneurship and not be in front of the brand anymore, if that makes sense. And so when, just going through life and understanding that you live this life for a reason. And this was my second life. And that's only in the adult industry. So if you think about it, I'm on my third act now. I'm on act 3, and it's probably act 4. Let me say act 4, because act 4 started when I removed my implants. That's a whole nother life. That's a whole nother chapter. And you could even say book that I'm now embracing, but also learning. And there's lessons, in that. And so at this time, I'm living my full story yet again on this next one. So it took me a minute to say, all right, how are you going to really go into this? Because you got a message. The message is you need to start to share your story. But not only that, but you need to teach people what self-love is. We need to go down to the core, to the root of it. And I remember saying, how am I going to do that? How? I don't have a degree in that. I'm thinking like you have to have a degree in that. Like how? And I remember speaking to a spiritual leader, and I remember her telling me, you don't need any credentials. Your life journey is your credentials. They are your credentials. Did I say yes? And I was like, wow, okay, hold on. Let me know they are your credentials. And so then what I started to do is I started taking up classes, courses, enrolling into different things to help better prepare me for, coaching, mentoring, different stuff like that, and I'm going to be honest, because I thought just my story alone wasn't good enough. And so I went and got the certifications. And let me say this, I enjoyed it because it was a lot of things that I did not know, especially when it comes to our body sexually, physically, emotionally, and mentally, and all coming together, and even spiritually, how it's so connected that I didn't know. And so just going through those different certifications, it helped me to better be able to come here and speak and talk. But it also allowed me to learn more about myself and my body and how it affects our emotional, what we talk about, how we feel. And so, and wanting to share your story, or having the courage to share your story and be the messenger. I want you to truly think about the bigger picture. And I believe that was the key point for me is remembering me as a little girl when I told my mom that I wanted to change the world. And so it's, what does that look like? That's not just me dancing and singing. I wanted to change people's lives. And then when I think about throughout my life, starting from a little girl all the way to now, how people came to me for advice. You know, I was the one sitting in a corner with a group of people sitting around me, giving people advice. As I say, I was the deer, the Black Deer Abbey, and so even though I tried to run from that, that still has always been my calling, is to help encourage, inspire, give people advice on their life, or better yet, on how to maneuver through their life. And a lot of people say, how can you do that? Your life was messy. Who better can tell you who somebody's life who was messy, that got out of that messy life and living on the other side, living very well. And I'm not just talking about abundance, of abundant and prosperity, but I'm talking about just truly peaceful in knowing who I am. In knowing who I am. All right. So I know I just went on a little talking spiel right there. So let's go to exercise 3. All right. So living your full story. Living your full story and knowing what that is. And this is where you commit to living it. Commit to living it. By step 1, what changes? If you fully claim your messenger story, what changes is, and how do you show up? So for example, stop apologizing for your past. I say I am open about my struggles. For me, that's what I did. I speak about my identity without shame, and I don't hide the messy parts of my journey. I let people see me becoming and not just arrive. I showed them what changes me and what changes for you. I show that. I show it unapologetically. You get some people. This is the thing. One thing that I learned is I want to hit everybody. And what I've learned during this journey is that everybody is not for you. Everybody is not for me. And who this is supposed to be for, it will be for. That's it. That is it. And so understanding that more, it allowed me to say, okay, share, do the work, show them you're doing the work. Show them that you're doing the work. And then step 2, who needs to know? Who needs to know? Who needs to hear your full messenger story? It could be your partner, your kids, your community, your audience. Who? And who do you need to tell? How would you tell it? How will you communicate your full messenger story? Would you have a conversation? Would you post it on social media? Would you create content about it? Would you share it in an interview? Tell it in your community, write it down, record it. How would you tell your story? And then step 4 is your action for this week. What's one action that you'll take to claim and communicate your full messenger story? And here's some examples. Tell someone important about your full story. Post publicly about your journey. Record your messenger. Write a letter to yourself. Or share your story with your community. What's your action? All right. So finally, what we do every Wednesday? We do a commitment exercise, and that's where we are now. The messenger community commitment. So finally, we commit not to just ourselves, but to the community. So step 1 is your commitment. And I want you to write down, I commit to claiming my full messenger story. And I commit to sharing, living, and embodying it. I commit to giving others permission by, and what's your action? This is your commitment. And this is your closing statement, all right? So you can write this down, the statement for yourself. I am the full woman, man, or person, whoever you are. I am, whatever your past, present, becoming, I am a messenger. And I am now claiming it all. No apologies, no shame, no holding, just the truth. And this is your declaration. I want you to sign it and date it. Sign your declaration and date it. And I want you to make it official. This is your commitment to yourself. All right, my beautiful people. So as we close and we reflect on the whole month, step one, what you learned. What did you learn this month about being a messenger? Write it down. The next one, how you've grown. What have you grown from week 1 to now? And what's the difference about how you see yourself, your story, your impact? The next one, as we move into August, what's your next step? Are you going to continue amplifying your messenger story? Are you going to go deep into your healing work? Are you going to build that community? What's your commitment for August? What is your commitment for August? All right. All right, y'all. So we have come to the time of the show where it's all about our final affirmations. All right. So I want y'all to repeat after me. I am a full messenger story. Past, present, and becoming. All of it. I own it. No apologies. I claim it. No shame. I live it. No hiding. I am the whole woman. Or if you're the whole man. Or if you are the whole person, you say it with your chest out. And you say, I am powerful. I am a messenger. And my story changes lives. Starting with my own. I am reclaimed. I am unashamed. And I am unstoppable. Well, all right, my beautiful people, we have done the work this month. We've looked at the messenger. We've understood the journey. We've seen the messenger effect, and we claimed our full story. So now we step into August carrying that. Carrying your full truth, your complete story, your power, because you are a messenger. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. You are real. Because you survive, because you transform, and because you're building. Because you're willing to stay visible and give others permission. Thank you for doing this work for me. Thank you for claiming your story. August brings us something new, but I want you to carry this with you. Your full story is your power. Live it, own it, be it. So until next week, this is your girl, Goddess NmW&x, here celebrating you. Because your story matters, your visibility matters, you matter, all right? And if this work fits you, or better yet, if this work feels real because it's real, and if you want to continue to deepen it, and deepening your messenger, your story, and claiming your full power, I want you to go to Elevate Me, because it's here now. With all 4 phases ready to guide you. All right, go to studio.com/Naomi. And if it's something here this month that hit home for you, I want to hear from you. Tell me your messenger story. Text me and leave me a voice note using the link right in our show notes. All right. You know, as I always say, be good to one another in yourselves. And always keep it sexy. Love yourself first so you can love others well. And also remember that we are on YouTube this season of Self-Love. All right. Have an amazing day. Have a good one.